We kissed? No.
What? Can I at least touch my old ass?
Oh my god,
Today we're talking about the newest Megan Park film, My Old Ass. Maisy Stella stars as 18-year-old Elliot, a chummy, freewheeling young woman who is excited to finally leave the confines of her family's tradition, cranberry farming. After taking mushrooms on her 18th birthday, she discovers that she can now communicate with a future version of herself, played to charming and comedic effect by Aubrey Plaza. Thus it poses the age-old question: if you were able to meet your future self, would you take the advice that they have for you in order to have a potentially better life? Minor spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen My Old Ass, pause here, go watch it, and then come back and let me tell you how to feel about it. While the concept of the movie is similar to body swap / time traveling movies like Freaky Friday or 13 Going on 30, the mystical quality to My Old Ass may be its least compelling component. That component is essential to some of the movie's best scenes and humor, but Megan Park wisely chose to let that take a back seat to a nuanced and emotionally rich plot. It's a character-building fulcrum for Elliot. We don't really need to question how she's able to communicate with her future self. It just is, and it's fun. Maisy Stella was a fresh face for me watching this movie, and she was absolutely my favorite part of the movie. I found her performance so grounded in a sea of movie-going experiences that are anything but. Along with Megan Park's thoughtful script, Stella brings a reality to Elliot. Her cadence, style, and mannerisms feel so deeply lived in. Somewhat astounding because the movie isn't very long. That genuineness was integral to the movie working, and Stella delivered. I can't wait to see more of her in the future. That lived-in quality adds a nice dynamic to the movie because all of the other characters that show up, such as her two brothers, are just as intimately illustrated. Her golf-obsessed brother reminded me a lot of my own brother's mannerisms, while her younger Saoirse Ronan-obsessed brother felt vibrant and lovable too. Aubrey Plaza is of course amazing in every scene that she's in, but she's really not in this very much. Young Elliot is the more important character, but when Plaza does show up as old Elliot, she is pitch perfect on the humor and emotional beats that we've come to expect from her. This movie likely couldn't afford the budget to have Aubrey in the movie more, so when they introduced the concept of her adding her number into younger Elliot's phone, it's really cool to see that unfold on screen. Plaza's on an interesting run right now as she's in this, Megalopolis, and Agatha All Along, and it's really cool to see April Ludgate doing it big. Though the jury's still out on Megalopolis. What the hell was that?
So go back to the club.
My Old Ass looks pretty darn incredible. Cinematographer Kristin Correll captures that end of summer vibe perfectly, with many sweeping shots capturing Elliot zooming along in her boat across the lake. Capturing the water is vitally important to the movie's message of cleansing the old self, rebirthing a new self, and discovering the fluid nature of sexuality. Correll's cinematography aids in harnessing a youthful, blissful energy that grows more intoxicating as the movie goes on. It's hard to make a movie feel eternally youthful, and the way this movie looks was essential to that. The most interesting aspect of My Old Ass is the piece that's introduced on bisexuality. We know at the beginning of the film that Elliot clearly likes girls, but when she meets the new summer farmhand on her parents' cranberry farm, Chad, she starts to wonder if her interest might be a little more fluid. She is not over-sexualized like we've seen bisexual characters on screen in the past. And instead of questioning if she's gay, the script is flipped and she starts to question if she may be straight, which is a pretty funny moment in the movie. It's heartfelt without being cheesy, though the character of Chad is, and was an apt plot point to hone in on. As with other moments involving sexuality in the movie, whenever Elliot is engaging in sexual activities, she is always surrounded by water. But there are other moments in the movie where she is met with the reality of change and water becomes a more resistant force. When she finds out that her father has decided to sell their long-held cranberry farm, she hilariously trudges through a cranberry patch, fully clothed, and is like, "What the hell, Dad?" You never lose the threat of time that hangs over this movie, as made evidently clear when Aubrey Plaza mentions to her younger self to avoid anyone named Chad. From that moment, we are ever aware of the ticking clock, waiting for that next shoe to drop. a real feeling of being alive in 2024. Myoldass particularly struck a chord with me when Elliot first meets her older self. Finding out that she's only a 39-year-old PhD student and not the wife of 3 children with a more successful career track is upsetting to Elliot. I often wonder what my younger self would think of me now at 33. When I was 16, I expected that by now I'd probably be married with a family, I'd be a successful movie director or an accomplished musician on tour. Most of the time, I think my younger self would be proud of who I am today, but in my weaker moments, I wonder sometimes if my younger self would think of me as a total failure. Myoldass tends to ask the big questions about life, and that is something that I found so important about it. It wears its coming of age influences on its sleeve, but underneath its layer of fun youthfulness are some deep messages to be pondered. Things do not always last forever, and if we don't begin to cherish them now, we will wish we had once they're gone. I loved the message about spending more time with Mom and Elliot's brothers as she begins to really start appreciating them as opposed to that baseline teenager reaction of, ugh, I hate them. I can't wait to get out of this old dusty town. You wonder by the end of this movie just how much Elliot wants to leave behind all of the love and admiration she's cultivated over the summer. In the end, change is ultimately a good thing and should be embraced, because removing the chaotic pieces of life also means you may not experience the important things like grief, loss, love, and happiness. What did you think of Myoldass? Was it a bit more wrinkled and liver spotted than you expected, or was it just as firm as you remembered? Leave all the comments below, and before you go, don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching this video and continuing to support the channel. Until next time, if you're going to take mushrooms, definitely do them with some friends. Don't forget to drink some cranberry juice and... What the? I'm getting a call. From my younger self. Hey man. Oh yeah, I remember that part of Kingdom Hearts 2. Dude, I thought Goofy was dead too.
I thought I'd be happier at 40. I feel like you're having a midlife crisis.
Well, I feel like you're high on mushrooms, so you